The 2023 Lexus RX. About time this thing got redesigned. Many people have been waiting for this because this is Lexus's cash cow. This is their number one selling vehicle. And the previous generation, or the current generation, the 2022 RX, heavily misunderstood vehicle. One of my most favorite luxury SUVs made for the price. And towards the end of this video, I'll tell you how to get a pretty excellent discount up to 8% off of a brand new 2022 RX, because that's still a great vehicle. If you want to know how to get that discount, stick to the end. But first of all, let's talk about the vehicle and what's new. So we have 4 new redesigned powertrains, 3 that are electrified. We have the Lexus Safety System 3.0 Plus with the new 14-inch display, the 14-inch infotainment screen anyway, and that's going to be an optional infotainment screen. You have 2 new trim levels, Premium Plus and the F Sport Performance with the Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology. And we're also going to be seeing an advanced parking feature as well on the new RX. And let's talk about the obvious here. It's a brand new redesigned vehicle. How does it look? Obviously it's subjective, but in my opinion, I think it looks pretty cool. They keep touting the F Sport Performance model, and this model is really low slung. It's got color matched body panels all throughout. It reminds me of the BMW X3, and it looks like a rear wheel drive powered vehicle because it has like this long front end and they've reduced the rear overhangs. So the wheelbase of this vehicle has increased by a little over 2 inches, but the rear overhang has decreased. So what ended up happening is you have a larger vehicle, a larger RX compared to the previous generation, but the overall exterior size is exactly the same as the previous generation RX. So if your previous RX fits perfectly in your garage, well, this should too, because from the outside it's the same size, but you get more interior space. The F Sport Performance also comes with 21-inch wheels. That's a all new feature for the RX. It's never come with 21-inch wheels in the past. Although, me personally, I would probably stick to the standard 19-inch wheels because this vehicle, let's be honest, it's primarily made for comfort. Also, the redesigned grille, it's interesting. It has like that spindle design shape, yet it's kind of closed off towards the top half of it. I don't know, it's very interesting, it's very unique. That's the thing I really like about Lexus and their design. It stands out. It's not boring like the other German manufacturers. And I think the rear end is clean as well. However, many people, for whatever reason, they're complaining that the Lexus logo no longer exists in the rear, just has Lexus spelled out in the back. I really don't care. Little things like that do not matter to me. The only thing that does matter to me is how it drives, and obviously nobody has driven this vehicle, and I'm probably not going to get the opportunity to anytime soon. However, based on my previous experience with the 2020 Lexus RX, the thing I liked about that vehicle was how quiet it was, the stability at speeds, and genuinely how well it drove. It was a great handling car for its size and its weight. People keep hyping up these European or these German manufacturers, but honestly, in my opinion, my most favorite vehicles to drive are almost always Japanese cars, especially out on the street. Spec sheets almost never do a good job telling the real story of how good a car really is out on the street. Anyway, let's keep diving into this vehicle. We have 10 new exterior colors and 6 new interior color options as well. Before we talk about the interior, let's talk about the GAK platform. The GAK platform offers a low center of gravity and the most optimal weight distribution. This new generation RX actually weighs 198 pounds, less than the outgoing generation. However, that's not super impressive to me because I feel like most of that weight savings came from the front end, because we no longer have the naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 engine as an option. The base engine is going to be a 2.4 liter turbocharged gasoline engine. So I'm assuming a lot of that weight savings comes from that front end. But regardless, it's impressive that this fairly large vehicle is now a little bit lighter. The rear suspension has been reworked. We have an all-new multi-link suspension that's attached to a rigid high torsion rear body frame that facilitates more consistent suspension input / travel during acceleration and deceleration and steering moments. Now let's talk about these engine options next. So the base model is going to be the RX 350, and it'll come in either front wheel drive or all wheel drive, and it'll be coming with a 2.4 liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder, which produces 275 horsepower and 317 pounds-feet of torque, with an estimated combined MPG of around 24 mpgs. 0 to 60 ranges between 7.2 seconds for the all-wheel drive and 7.5 seconds for the front-wheel drive model. We'll also have an RX 350H, which is probably the model that I'm going to recommend to most people, which is going to be a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine mated to a CVT transmission, and this is a hybrid. This will come in all-wheel drive only, and it's going to have the least amount of power seen in pretty much any RX, apparently. It's going to have 246 horsepower and 233 pounds-feet of torque, which seems abysmal. But the main reason why I recommend this model is because it gets a combined 33 mpgs while doing 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds. Again, I do not care about the specs. However, that MPG does matter to me because the outgoing RX 450H is not the most efficient hybrid powertrain. It's nothing like the Lexus ES 300H that gets like 40 MPG in the city and 40 on the highway. The RX 450H in the previous generation maybe got like 27 or 30 in the city, which is not bad. It's an improvement over the regular RX 350 with the V6, but this new RX 350H seems to be a proper hybrid similar to the ES 300H that's really getting great MPG. 33 combined is fantastic. We will also have an RX 450H plug-in hybrid, and more details will be shared later, and that's also a model to consider because they'll probably come with a $7,500 tax credit. And of course, we have the all-new RX 500H, and this is the F-Sport Performance variant with a 2.4 liter turbo hybrid mated to a 6-speed automatic with the direct 4 all-wheel drive. This is the most powerful variant at 367 horsepower and 406 pounds-feet of torque, with 26 mpg as the combined mpg figure, and 0 to 60 in around 5.9 seconds. But how do all of these powertrains compare to the outgoing regular RX 350 for the 2022 model year? So the V6 engine found in that vehicle produces 295 horsepower and 267 pounds-feet of torque. They didn't share with us the RX 450H's power figures, but only the RX 500H is really beating the previous generation RX 350. The base model RX 350 for the current generation, the 2023, makes a little bit more torque than the V6, but for the most part, that V6 engine was so buttery, it was so smooth. It really added to the characteristic of that SUV. It really sucks that they're going backwards here and they're putting these old 4-cylinder engines in it. However, I had a great experience with the ES 300H. I thought that 4-cylinder was quiet, smooth. The overall hybrid powertrain was really well sorted. That's why I'm a huge fan of the RX 350H for the 2023 model year. And this car is not about speed and performance, which is another reason why I think most families can benefit from the hybrid MPG figures as opposed to any power upgrades. And pricing has not been shared with us either at this point for any of these models. Let's talk about the RX 500H and the F-Sport Performance grade. So the F-Sport Performance introduces a new hybrid electric system for the Lexus brand. It's got an e-axle rear unit that integrates a high output electric motor, an inverter, and a reduction gearbox. It's going to be utilizing the new Direct 4 drivetrain, which they introduced in vehicles like the new RZ, their full EV model. And the F-Sport Performance is going to come with these pointless 6-piston brakes, which is totally overkill for a vehicle like this, but that's what it comes with the 21-inch wheels, and you get some interior upgrades as well. I'm assuming this model is going to cost like $65,000 because the current generation RX does cost around $60,000 to $65,000 fully loaded. And we have plenty of safety features like you would expect out of a brand new Lexus, like the Safety System 3.0 Plus, and the interior space as a whole. I've seen it, it's fantastic. I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely high quality space, no creaks and rattles. Lexus, in my opinion, does some of the best interiors in the business, far superior to even the European rivals. They have the best designs, and with the new 14-inch display, it's an optional display, but I think it's worth going for because I tried the 14-inch display in the brand new Tundra. It is the best, most intuitive touchscreen infotainment system that I have ever used. It's the best infotainment found in any car. So I would definitely opt for that if I were you. It's going to be worth it. It looks like it's going to be easy to access. You still have some physical buttons to play with. The leather quality is always excellent with the Lexus product. Storage space is obviously better than the previous generation RX. Same thing with the cargo. This is some of the reasons why the RX has always been a vehicle that I've constantly recommended to people. However, there's also the new Acura MDX. I haven't tried it, but let's be honest, we know what to expect out of the MDX. We know it's going to drive amazing, and it still comes with a V6 engine. So as of right now, it apparently has a superior drivetrain, at least, because we know Honda V6s are incredible. At the beginning of this video, I told you I would show you how to get 8% off of a current generation 2022 RX 350 because there's literally nothing wrong with that model. It's one of my most favorite luxury SUVs that I still continue to recommend to people. One of the ways you can get 8% off is by going through LeaseCompanion. It's a company that I have partnered with, and it's literally a win-win situation for everyone. LeaseCompanion is a broker, and if you sign up with my link, you can get $50 off of their broker fee. They typically charge $500 for their broker fee, but it's well worth it because all of their deals are pre-negotiated. You don't have to haggle. You don't have to go into a physical dealership where people look at you like they're vultures and they're ready to just tear you apart. There's none of that. There's no stress. They're located in Washington, D.C., but they can ship the cars nationwide. Obviously, you have to pay for the shipping, but if you're on the East Coast at least, it's pretty affordable to ship the cars. But even still, to take advantage of that 8% off, it might be worth it for you to pick the vehicle up, ship it, and to pay the broker fee because most people are paying over MSRP for a brand new car. And to get a brand new RX 350 all-wheel drive at 8% off, I think that's a great deal. And you don't have to lease the vehicle. You can finance it, you can pay cash for it, and still get the 8% off. However, if you do choose to lease the car, you can get $1,500 off further as a lease incentive. And when you do a one-pay lease, you're pretty much paying no interest. So that's what I recommend you doing. So that way there's no interest. You get to take advantage of the 8% off and the $1,500 credit. So I would do that. I'm going to leave LeaseCompanion's information and my link in the description box below if you want to buy a current generation RX 350 all-wheel drive at 8% off. So if you enjoyed that, check out the next video on the end screen here.